A NAS is great, right up until you start to run into common problems every single NAS owner will experience at some point. Disks fail, backups don't restore when you need them, permissions lock you out, and even performance degradation. In this video, I'll break down issues that you will run into with a NAS and show you the warning signs to watch out for, the fixes that actually work, and a way to prevent some of the issues from occurring entirely. The first is drive failure. Drives fail, it is not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. Now, the RAID type that you're using determines how big of an emergency it is. So what I mean by that is if you're using something like RAID Z1 or RAID 5 and you have, let's say, 6 drives, if a drive fails, it is a problem and it needs to be resolved immediately. If you're using 6 drives and RAID Z2 or RAID 6, it is less of a concern because you still have 1 drive of redundancy. So the fix for that is firstly to ensure that you are using the correct RAID type that provides enough redundancy for your pool. Next is to use a hot spare if you can, which is in essence just a drive that will sit in your NAS device and it will automatically rebuild using that drive if another drive fails. If you don't have space for a hot spare, make sure that you have a cold spare. A cold spare will be a drive that is the same size, just sat on the side, so that if a drive fails, you can immediately start to rebuild that pool. You should also ensure you test a hot or cold spare using a smart test, which is the next tip. Most NAS operating systems will allow you to run smart tests. Those tests can tip you off to a failing drive before it becomes a problem. Now, in order to accomplish that, the last thing that you can do is ensure that you have a drive on hand. If you wait until a problem occurs to order a drive, you could be looking at multiple days where your pool will be degraded, so fixing it sooner is always better than waiting. But fixing a degraded pool is always concerning if you don't have backups. Now, there are so many issues that you can run into with backups, and I'm going to list out a few. Some of the biggest are untested backups, snapshot reliance, partial coverage, and having 1 backup as opposed to 2. Now, some of the things you could do to get ahead of this is first, if you have not tested out the restore of your backup, then you do not have a backup. This is the most important portion of this video. Even if your backups are running, at a minimum, I'd say biannually, you should be testing a restore to ensure that the data can be restored. Next is partial coverage. So what occurs is most people will not back up their entire NAS. They will back up a subset of the data. What happens is that as time goes on, that subset of the data that is important to them changes, and they are not actually backing up the important data because a lot of the times when you're doing partial backups, you have to go in and ensure that you check off new folders. If you don't do that, the data won't be backed up. Next is snapshot reliance, which is people using snapshots as a backup. And if you're using a snapshot as a backup, it is not a backup. So make sure you configure some sort of backup to ensure that you can restore your data if ever needed. And finally, I know this is going to feel like it's extreme for a lot of people, but having 1 backup as opposed to 2. Now, the backups can differ, so you can have an external hard drive as one of the backups, but you should try and have 2 backups if you can and make sure one of them is off-site, because if they're at the same location, you technically do not have a backup in the way that you think you do. If you test out your restores of your backups and you follow some of these best practices, you won't be concerned in a situation when you have to restore the data. But I promise you, if you wait until you have to restore that data, you're going to be freaking out until you ensure that it can actually be restored because you never tested it. The next is permission issues. And when you have 1 user, it's generally not a problem. But as time goes on, you're most likely going to have more than 1 user. And that's when permissions can get messy. For most people, either the user ends up having too much permission or too little permission. So the fix for this is to start using groups to manage permissions as opposed to user permissions. So what you can do is for every folder that you have, or let's say a subset of folders, you can go in and create a group that will have access to those folders. At that point, you can go in and add a user to that group, and that will ensure that they have the correct level of permission. You can also use this to your advantage. So before you create a new user and give them their credentials, create the user account, sign into the account, and ensure it can only do exactly what you want. That ensures that the permission level that you set is not too much and is not too little, and everything will work as expected. The next is around pools becoming full. Once you get to around 80 to 85% or so, the performance will go down. And it's not going to be noticeable in one area, it's going to be across the board. So unfortunately, I can't say that you can go to one specific place and see how the performance is, and that will determine if the performance will be fine moving forward. But it is across the board going to go down. Now, this can be from storing too many snapshots or not clearing up old data, but in a lot of cases, it's just from natural growth. So the first fix for this is that you could potentially change your retention policies on some of your snapshots. That will ensure that if you're holding on to a lot of that old data, you can free up relatively easily new space so that you can get under that threshold. If you don't have too many snapshots, but you have old data, that will accomplish the same thing. But in the case of natural growth, unfortunately, nothing like that will work. So what you have to do in that case is add another drive. The way I would look at it, if you can, is that once you get to 80% full, start to plan to add a drive. Doesn't mean you have to do it today, but start to plan, because as it creeps up, the performance issues will become more apparent. The next is around power. And for 99% of people, you will lose power at some point. I know a lot of people out there are saying, I haven't lost power in 5, 10, 15 years. I'm going to be fine. It's going to happen. It's just a matter of time. The fix for that is to get a UPS. It sounds basic, but the UPS will stay online, which will ensure that from a data integrity perspective, that your NAS is reliable during power events. With that said, a UPS needs to be tested as well, and UPS batteries go bad. But for that, I'm not even talking about years down the road. At a certain point, the battery will go bad and you'll have to replace it. But I'm talking about the second that you buy it, you should test the UPS. There are a lot of models out there that when you plug them in, the UPS has to physically be turned on. But if you plug a NAS device into the UPS without turning it on, it will still receive power. What ends up happening is people think the UPS is on and is functional, but it's not actually doing anything. So the first thing to do is plug in any other device. You could plug in a light if you want. Unplug the UPS. The light should stay on. If it doesn't stay on, the UPS is not doing what it's supposed to do. Now, I'm not suggesting that you test with your NAS device on. The NAS device should be turned off. But if you test your UPS regularly, you're not going to be blindsided by issues. Now, of course, you should go in and configure the UPS so that your NAS device will automatically power down in the event of a prolonged power outage. That is on the configuration side, though. We're talking about baseline, will the UPS work if you lose power? Now, I know that there are a lot of other issues that can occur, especially around performance. But a lot of those issues are unique, and it's not necessarily the case that you will run into them. These issues, in my opinion, are problems that you will run into at some point. It might not be today, it might not be tomorrow, but at some point you will most likely run into these issues, and if you get ahead of them, they won't be issues, but if you don't, they can be a problem. I'd love to hear what you think in the comments in terms of what I missed, but other than that, if you made it this far, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys next time.